Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Lunar Temple Podcast. So, in this episode, we've got quite a few things to explore because there are quite a few things heading our way energetically, astrologically, seasonally speaking. So I am recording this in the evening. So normally I record these in the daytime where the light is a little bit better. But yeah, this is the only free time that I've got this week is in the evenings. So forgive me for the slightly kind of dim, gloomy looking video. But if you're listening to it as a podcast, it won't make any difference to you. So yeah, I'm recording this on the eve of the new moon solar eclipse in Aries, which is taking place UK time in the very early hours of tomorrow morning. I think it's about 5 a.m. And today has been the dark moon and will continue to be the dark moon until till the new moon takes place. So it always feels like a really nice space to record these episodes from. Just really invites that kind of sense of retreat and reflection. And I'm in my cozy little witchy room and I've got my beautiful magic tarot tea, which I don't know if you can see the color very well because it is nighttime, but it's this amazing blue color. I think I've shared this with you before. And it's by this beautiful company called Tarn and Moon up in Yorkshire, and this is one of my favorites of her teas. It's mainly tastes of lemongrass. It's really nice for kind of uplifting you, and it's nice after a meal. But it's also got blue pea flower in it, which is what gives it that beautiful blue color. It's got mugwort in, which I'm a big fan of mugwort, and it's wonderful, dreamy, slightly trippy qualities. And there's a few other things in there too that I can never remember off the top of my head. And I've got this lovely cinnamon swirl soy candle, which you can't really tell. It's got glitter in and smells absolutely glorious. So yeah, I'm excited to talk to you about the energy of the moment. So you've probably already seen a lot online leading up to this eclipse season, and it's easy sometimes to get caught up in the I guess the fear, I suppose, of retrogrades and eclipses. And whilst it's important to be savvy to the energy and the fact that it can be a little bit intense and it can be very karmic, and it can be very emotional, I think it's really important to also lean into these times, and rather than having that fear and trepidation as we approach these times, to really see them as a powerful time of teaching and of transformation. And they can actually be incredibly healing times as well. So the eclipse season is beginning with this eclipse tomorrow, with the second new moon in Aries. And this particular eclipse season or eclipse portal will stay open until the lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which is taking place at the beginning of May. And then we'll have another eclipse season later on in the year. So the reason that this next few weeks is a little bit intense is because we've got Mercury going retrograde at the end of this week. So we've already been in its pre-shadow, and we may have felt that. I know that I certainly have, and the project that we had on over the Easter break has definitely felt like it has been tinged with Mercury retrograde energy. So it's not gone according to plan. Lots of delays, lots of miscommunications, lots of frustrations. So we're building something in the garden, and all will be revealed when it is eventually created. but yeah, it's not it's not gone according to plan. So yeah, you may already have been feeling that pre-shadow, which is normally a couple of weeks before it stations retrograde. And yeah, so that is taking place at the end of this week during eclipse season. And then we've got Pluto going retrograde at the start of May. And that is taking place in the Bealtaine portal as well. So there is quite a lot of, yeah, interesting, interesting, intense energy coming up. But as I said, like opportunities definitely for transformation, for healing, for really digging deep and looking at ourselves if we so wish. And I really feel that's what this particular new moon eclipse in Aries is asking us to do. You know, Aries rules that first house of self, and it can actually be a lot of work around supporting the inner child, the inner teenager, the inner maiden archetype. And that can be a really, really interesting thing to look at in eclipse season. What's interesting about eclipses is they work on 18-year cycles. So if you have a look back at what you were doing, what was going on for you this time 18 years ago, and we may find that the same kinds of themes are coming up for us, and it's an opportunity to heal, make peace with, reflect on, do some more work on whatever those themes may be. The other really interesting thing with eclipses is they can be very, very powerful times for beginnings and for endings. So pay attention to your endings, pay attention to those inklings of what is coming. And with the endings, again, it's that real time to make peace with the things that are just no longer meant for us, whether that's work related, relationship related, situational things, karmic things that are just coming to their natural end, and trying to make peace with it as best we can. You know, in terms of ritual practice during this eclipse season, you know, it'd be really, really powerful to do some releasing practices, maybe with fire. You know, Bealtaine is a fire festival, the next turning of the wheel celebration, and it is taking place within this eclipse season. So when we get closer to Bealtaine, we're then working more with that eclipse in Scorpio, and it can really, really help us, that energy, to really clear out some old kind of karmic baggage, let go of stuff that we're just hanging on to. Maybe we need to forgive, release, let go. So yeah, in terms of your own magical practices, I would really recommend making some space and some time for clearing and cleansing. And Bealtaine represents the beginning of the light half of the year. So there was a time where the year was just kind of split into two, the light half and the dark half. And Bealtaine initiated the light half, and then Samhain was initiating the dark half. And so it was summer and winter. And it's quite interesting to look at that as well, you know, as we're moving through eclipse season and then stepping through that Bealtaine portal, is that idea of really letting go of the dark half of the year and stepping into that lightness, stepping into the summer, stepping into that kind of full expression of ourselves, and shedding whatever is no longer required, perhaps coping mechanisms that we've had in place that have served their purpose but are no longer needed. So yeah, really, really powerful time for journaling, self-reflection, inner inquiry, and supporting yourself during this time. Some reminders about Mercury retrograde is to use it as an opportunity to slow down. We always need opportunities and reminders to slow down these days. So stepping back a little bit from initiating projects, and really thinking about catching up, looking back, going through things that, you know, maybe we've been putting to the side. So catching up on admin, catching up on bookkeeping, catching up on correspondence, you know. And I really have learned to love, in a way, not 100%, because there's still a lot of, you know, instances in Mercury retrograde where I just find it so frustrating and so stressful. But I have learned to love that aspect of it, that just is a little signal to me these times throughout the year to just, okay, let's consolidate. Let's just check in with everything. What's working? What isn't working? What do I need to really catch up with and get organized with, and kind of clear the desk a little bit, you know, before Mercury stations direct once again and that energy is moving forward. So it can be a powerful time for that, for slowing down, for integrating, for catching up, for feeling a little bit more centered, and just stepping back from those things that we know Mercury is going to mess with. So yeah, as much as we can, you know, we don't always have the control over those things, but just, you know, maybe unplugging a little bit more from technology. Again, we need lots of reminders to do that. Maybe we just take longer with our communications with people. And again, I don't think there's any harm in that either. Slowing down, really listening to what people are saying, so that we are careful to not have as many misunderstandings. Taking our time when communicating with others. Are we saying what we mean? Because if we're not, it's likely going to be misconstrued. So there's a lot of positives that can be found within the chaos that is Mercury retrograde. And I think it just keeps us humble as well. You know, we like to think as humans that we've got a lot of control. And when these kind of chaotic times emerge, it just really shows us that we certainly don't. And what we do need to gain control over more and more is our self-regulation, you know, our calm, our mindfulness, you know, really working with our attachment, working with our anger and our irritation. And, you know, Mercury retrograde shows us where our triggers still are, where our work needs to happen. So powerful teachers, retrogrades and eclipses, if you can remember in the moment to stay connected to that energy, but it's not easy. So yeah, just a little reminder then, recap if you like. So new moon solar eclipse in Aries tomorrow morning around 5 a.m. I believe, but please check your time zone. We also have tomorrow the sun moving into Taurus. So Taurus season begins, which I love, because Taurus is my sun sign, but it can just be a little bit of a relief after Aries season. You know, some of that fire and that action and that drive and that passion, you know, it can be a lot, and Taurus just really helps us to ground that energy. So we still really relating to what we want and what we wish and where we're headed, but it's just kind of softens a little bit, brings us back to earth a little bit. And of course, we know Taurians are lovers of all things sense related. You know, they're like the nice things in life. They like the you know, the long baths and the essential oils and the chocolate and, you know, all of that stuff. And so it's a real invitation to to lean in to that and think about your relationship to pleasure and your relationship to enjoying, and working with that Venus energy, because of course Taurus is ruled by Venus. And Bealtaina just helps fuel Taurus season even more. It's a fertility festival. A lot of the themes around this time of year are to do with pleasure, and self-expression and sensuality and that abundance of the earth at this time of year. So yeah, a really, really sweet energy to be working with. Friday is Mercury retrograde, and then we have in a couple of weeks the lunar eclipse. I'm just checking my diary here. The full moon lunar eclipse is taking place on the 5th of May. That's in Scorpio. And then obviously the Bealtaine portal opens on the 30th of April. But Bealtaine is traditionally, I guess, celebrated, or we might know it better as the 1st of May, also known, of course, as May Day. But there's lots of different points where you can honor Bealtaine, and I believe this year astrological Bealtaine is taking place on the same day as lunar Bealtaine, because we've got the full moon taking place on the 5th, and I think astrological Bealtaine is the 5th of May as well. But again, double check those bits of information. So yes, I wanted to share with you, as I so often do with Maya Toll's decks, her oracle decks, because I love them so much. But there's one here that I wanted to share with you. So the card is actually for early spring, and I know that we are not in early spring anymore, but you might feel that you are, depending on where you are in the world and what your weather is doing. And I know, like, from where I am, it doesn't even feel just quite yet like established spring, because the weather has been very cold. We're used to it being really wet at this time of year, but not quite as chilly. And I know a lot of people have had like Facebook memories from last year, and it was really, really warm. I think there was even like paddling pools out and things like that. But yeah, it's really chilly still this time of year. So you might relate to it being early spring, but we know we've got the start of summer with Bealtaine in just a couple of weeks. Anyway, I love this image. So this is the card for early spring, and it is the door. I don't know if my camera is picking that up very well, but for those of you listening, it's this gorgeous golden key in front of a door, this like very ornate door that looks like it's just opening. And I thought that this card was really lovely for not just stepping through this kind of seasonal portal, but of course looking at the eclipse portal as well. So she says, choose inside or outside. Imagine that you could walk around behind yourself, standing at your own back. Picture a little door nestled right behind your heart. Perhaps it's the same door the moon peers into during winter solstice. Or maybe it has an arched top and is made of solid wood. Or perhaps it's bronze and embossed with roses. No matter how your imagination pictures it, this is the door to your inner sanctum, a place that only you can unlock. The door reminds you to pause and choose whether or not to fish out your key and open the portal to your inner world. As you stand behind yourself, know that you always have a choice. You can unlock the door or keep it barred. You choose what and who comes inside and what must remain outside. Remember, though, that you are more than just your thoughts. Sometimes the mind says no, while the heart says yes. The door is your opportunity to get clear with yourself and to balance the desires of the body and the brain. What will you let in? Who will you let in? These are the first questions the door asks. The next questions are, what have you already let in that does not belong? What's hurting your heart or disrupting your energy? And what should be outside that is currently inside? So I really liked this for this time, because I feel that that's a very helpful eclipse inquiry. You know, this idea of just really checking in with our self and our energy. And, you know, as Maya Toll says here, you know, what is in that should be out, what is out that should be in. And really, really getting clear on that stuff. You know, boundaries are always an important theme, whatever new moon, whatever full moon, whatever season. But I do find the Aries is really, really helpful for getting clear on that, because it's so anchored in self and fiery. And it's got that kind of that wonderful Mars energy that helps us to stick up for ourselves when maybe we haven't been. And so this is a time to really look at those energy leaks, you know, who is draining you and who is really filling you up. You know, who are those people when you with them and you think, oh gosh, you know, I just feel lighter, I feel inspired, I feel joyful, you know, I've had a laugh, I've enjoyed myself, I've got new ideas, and there's this real sense of buoyancy and energetic exchange. And then looking at those places, situations, people, conversations, whatever it is, where we feel the exact opposite. You know, you have those moments where you can kind of almost feel the life force, you know, leaving you, being siphoned out of you, you know. And I think it's so important to pay attention to those and to try and work out a way to hug your energy back. Something that I've been thinking about a lot over the last few years, really, in terms of boundaries and in terms of these energy leaks, is it's hard sometimes to put a boundary in. It's hard sometimes to let go of a situation or a relationship where you feel this is happening, because it's hard, isn't it, to close off from certain things or certain people. And particularly if you're someone that's compassionate and you want to help people, and or maybe you know, people pleaser. But one thing that I've really found that I have more of an awareness of now, for whatever reason, is that no amount of energy, no amount of dedication, no amount of advice is ever going to be enough for those people or those situations. It is always going to be an energy leak. And one thing that I have definitely noticed since becoming a mom and just having less time to give outside of, you know, my family, is I really want my energy to be going where it is needed, where it is going to be the best used, where it's going to be helpful and beneficial. And this has been a bit of a wake-up call for me, because I've realized, yeah, pouring my energy into that is not only depleting me, draining me, but it isn't actually going into a place where it's being used in a good way, you know. And that person is just staying stuck. I'm like, you know, exhausted, depleted. And there's some people over here or some situations over here where that energy could be really, really well used. So I don't know if that's helpful for you, but it's just something that has been there for me. You know, I've been working through the last few years, and it's just given me clarity on a lot of things and an ability to really let go of some things where I've just thought, yeah, that's not where I'm supposed to be. That's not where I'm needed. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's felt really empowering and really joyful to direct my energy where it is, yeah, needed the most. And, you know, I think this is one of our biggest challenges, isn't it, in life, is boundaries, saying no, letting go of that, those people pleasing tendencies that we so often have. So yeah, Aries can be really helpful, and I think an eclipse in Aries just helps us to look at those shadow parts of ourselves and what is really holding us back from feeling empowered, from feeling lit up, from feeling like we're living our life for us and not for others. So kind of on that note, I wanted to just share just a few things because I like this podcast to be a little bit of a check-in with what I've been up to as well. And I know a lot of you have messaged me afterwards and kind of appreciates knowing that, connecting with that. So on that note of kind of boundaries and self-care and filling myself back up, I've been doing a lot of stuff for my creative self. And this was a little intention that sparked in winter. And then it's just been gaining more and more momentum, which has been really nice as I've been healing some wounds around creativity and giving myself time for creativity. And also just really understanding that it's such an important part of who I am that I can't ignore it. I can't push it to the side. It's not something where I'm like, oh, if I've got time, then I'll do this. And it's something that me and my husband have been talking about a lot. It's like, no, we are creative people, and there's certain things that we need that are non-negotiable. And we've both struggled, with becoming new parents, because so much of that time, as I'm sure many people can relate to, it just disappears. But we've both found that, we haven't really felt ourselves for a long time. And so we've had lots of conversations where we're like, look, we need to really schedule this in. You need your creative time. I need my creative time. Let's support each other in having that, because it's a boundary. It's a non-negotiable for us. So I've done quite a few things. I've done lots of online courses that I've attended, lots of things to do with kind of breaking through these barriers to do with creativity, the guilt and the shame and, the perfectionism and so many layers of things that can keep us from our creative practice. So one of the things that I've really valued is this idea of just creating in the in-between moments of your life. And it's been a bit of a breakthrough for me, because I think previously I've been somebody that's like, I've got to have like a certain setup to be able to get all my stuff out and be creative and maybe work on a particular thing. And that's not available to me at the moment with a toddler. And what I've started doing now is just making it part of the day. So I invite Orla into that experience, and we're doing lots of messy sketchbook work so she can actually join in. I get to use all her art materials, which in turn helps me not be such a perfectionist if you're using like crayons and really fun cheap paint. So that's been a real breakthrough for me, just trying to be less precious about what I'm creating and how I'm creating, but just making sure that I've done something every day that is creative. So we do lots of collage together, lots of messy painting and textured stuff, and I've been doing lots of embroidery in the evening. And I've come across, it's called slow stitching. So again, it's getting out of this idea, because I struggle with this of always having to like have a finished product. Slow stitching is you do just stitch for the pure joy of stitching, and it's just random. And I've got some here actually, so those of you that are watching on YouTube, this is for you. And on the podcast, I did put these pictures on my Instagram, which is Shell Rose Art, I think. So I've got about 5 different Instagram accounts, but Shell Rose Art. But if you can see, so it's just like lots of random stitches, or kind of not super random, but and this is actually an old painting rag that I've used as the base, and it's just been like really, really enjoyable to sit and just stitch and de-stress at the end of the day. So I've been enjoying basically just all things creative. And then the other thing that I've started doing as well, which has been a real joy, is colouring in. So I know there's this whole craze that seems to have happened without me of colouring books. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I just haven't like got into them. And then I bought this for myself a few months ago, the witch coloring book. And yeah, I just thought, come on, this is just going to sit on the shelf forever if you don't just start. And I think I've got this thing too where I'm like, oh, I'll take forever to choose which one I'm going to start with, and I'll take forever to choose what I'm going to color it in with. And I just think this is what I don't have time for at the moment, my own faffing. So I was like, just start creating the in between. Come on. So I've started coloring in. Where is she? Yeah, here she is. So she's fit to me, she's Morgan Le Fay. That's the kind of energy I got from her, and she's got, because I've colored them in these colors, I think she looks like she's got these amazing like raven wings behind her and on her headdress as well. But it's just been really soothing to just sit and color. And again, like Orla's been kind of watching me do that, and then she's been sitting with me and coloring in her coloring book. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. Lots of time working on the things that I feel like I've been saying to other people for the past few years, but I'm really trying to do the work on myself, break through those blockages for myself, and yeah, like really, really reclaim that part of myself that is an artist, because she has just been, this part of myself has just been lost for yeah, for a little chunk of time, and for lots of different reasons, which I won't go into now. But yeah, she definitely wants to be seen more and embraced more, and I'm wanting to do more of that with my work as well. So I'm going to be running some art workshops this year as well, which is really exciting. So yeah, so that's it from me. So yeah, lots of drinking tea, lots of colouring, lots of creating in the in-between moments whilst, managing life with a toddler who's got 6 planets in Aquarius and is very stubborn, but also a total joy. So yeah, I will be recording another episode, all being well, for the lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So we'll talk a little bit more about Bealtaine then, because it will be taking place just afterwards. And if I have got time, I'll try and record a separate episode for Bealtaine, but I don't know if, honestly, if I will have time to do that. So yeah, look out for the one for the full moon. And yeah, I'm just really, really wishing you a transformative eclipse season. And yeah, just go easy and gentle with yourselves. Take the time that you need to step back and yeah, recalibrate, rest, and just think about your energetic protection as we move through this time, because it probably will be intense, and there's probably going to be emotions coming to the surface, and of course not just for us, but for the people around us as well. So thinking of your tools, your toolkit for self-care and energetic protection as we journey through this time. Those of you in my Green Witches year course, we're going to be gathering this week on Friday for our new moon circle. So I'm really excited. We're going to be sitting with the spirit of the dandelion, which I'm really excited. I've been doing lots of work with dandelion myself. So I've been making tinctures, and I'm about to make some salves, and I've been using it a lot, just the fresh leaves as well. So yeah, excited to to sit with those of you in the course on Friday. And just another reminder for next year. I know it's obviously a little while off, but just if you're interested and you want to start planning for it, then I will be running my first priestess training program next year. This is going to be a 12-month program online with me. It's going to be underneath my other platform, Sisters of the Moon Online. So it'll be a Sisters of the Moon online priestess training, and our first year is going to be all about working with the energies of Avalon, so that Avalon priestess energy, and I'm really, really excited. But what I'm going to be doing for the second half of this year is taking a little step back from what I'm offering, as in not offering anything new, I don't think, for the rest of this year, so that I can really dedicate myself to just putting the content together, and kind of immersing myself in that as well. So yeah, if you're interested, please message. I know I've had quite a few people reach out to me already. So we've got a really nice group that is forming for next year. But yeah, this will be, like I said, this will be a year, and it will be a lot deeper than what we have been doing previously. So there'll be more content that will be meeting up more regularly online, and there'll just be more for you to do in your own practice as well. So if you're looking to kind of deepen your knowledge, deepen your experience, and connect to those Avalonian mysteries, then yeah, please do get in touch, and I'll have more information about pricing and payment plans and just the details of the course, very, very soon. All right, well, thank you so much for listening or watching, and I'll see you again very soon. And yeah, blessings for the eclipse tomorrow, and good luck with the Mercury retrograde. All right, speak soon. Take care.